Hey everybody, in this video we're going to talk about how to properly mount your pannier bags to your pack wheel frame. And this will be the same process on the non-motorized one. So let's get into it. So first and foremost, when you're loading these bags, it's important to keep in mind weight distribution. So when you are loading them, try to load them evenly as possible so that you have that even weight distribution on both sides of that pack wheel. Next, you want all of your heaviest items in the lowest portion of the bags themselves. That will keep all that weight down low so that the pack wheel itself isn't going to be too top heavy and hard to balance. So all of the bags themselves will be a top loading bag with that simple roll top design up on top. You have the buckle with some extra gear rings up here so you can hang whatever you want off them, or you can use them as a secondary tie down point. On the back side, you have the 3 loops across the top, 2 loops on the sides, 1 on the bottom, and then 2 more on the corners here. So now let's go ahead and mount these. So with each bag, you should have 2 straps with buckles on the end of them, and then 2 pieces of 550 cord with loops on the end of them. Okay, so before we mount our bag, we're gonna go ahead and take our 2 straps and run them vertical and horizontal. And what we recommend is taking one of those buckle ends off, just buckling it back into itself so that you have this end to work with. It's a lot easier to run through the frame versus trying to fight that buckle. So with this vertical buckle, we're gonna go ahead and find that second cross member right here, run it through. You can run it on this side, doesn't really matter. But then what I recommend is running it over the top of this frame here, and then down the bottom, you'll run it through that hole at the very bottom of the frame. So it's going to look just like that. And essentially, the reason why I'm running this on the outside is just to keep that strap on the outside so it's not back here dangling around or anything. If it comes loose, it's not going to catch in the tire. So you can just run it just like that. That's it for that vertical strap. Now let's grab our other strap. Same thing. Have one of the ends buckled into itself. You're going to run it back through the side right here, over this top section, and back and around that side. So it's going to look just like that. So now we have our straps on here. Now we're going to go ahead and take our bag. And on our bag again, we have those 3 loops across the top. These are going to be the corner ones. So on the frame here, you'll see these little tabs on each corner. That's what you're going to use to attach the bag to. So just use those loops, loop it around those little tabs right there. One on that side, one on this side. Now essentially your bag's just going to dangle right here. Now it doesn't matter if you want to take your vertical or horizontal strap first. You're just going to run it through the side loops. Since I'm going to start on the side, you're going to run it through the side loops of the bag on one side, run it through that side loop on the other side. Now we can take our strap and run it through the buckle. And you can cinch this down however tight you need. And then with these loose ends, I recommend tying them or tucking them in or something. For this, I'm just going to tuck them in, just so they're not dangling around, catching on anything. Now same goes with the vertical straps. You have this loop here on the back side of the bag. I'm going to run that through that loop. Same for the bottom. Run it through that bottom loop of the bag. Loop it through the buckle. Again, cinch it down however tight you need. Tuck those loose ends in, tie them off, whatever. And that is what your straps are going to look like. One across the side, one across the top, just like that. All right, now with this 550 cord, we have this looped end and just this loose tag end. And go ahead and run that looped end through the corner of the bag here. And you're just going to pull that 550 cord through itself. It's just going to cinch down. And now we're going to be using this 550 cord to pull it across to the other side so that it lifts this bag up. So this bag is not going to be in the way of the wheel at all. So now we're going to bring that 550 cord up to the opposite corner where this frame is, where we hung the bag in the first place. We're going to go ahead and wrap it around that little tab. And if you want, you can tie whatever knot you want right here as long as it holds it. But for my recommendation, how I like to do it, I pull it over itself like that around this tab. I pull it nice and tight. I create a little bite right here, and then I take that loop off, take this loop, just create a simple little overhand knot. Now I've got this loop right here. I'll just grab this knot, pull it tight again, and just loop it over. So now I know this 550 cord is nice and tight, and again, with this excess material, tie it off, tuck it in, however you want to manage it. You're going to repeat that process for the other corner. After you secure that bag, go ahead and take a look down through the frame to make sure that bag's not protruding anywhere and nothing's going to snag. All right, so now that we have one bag on, we have to flip the pack wheel over and repeat the process. There's a couple ways you can do it. If you just want to muscle it, you can go ahead and grab the spine of that frame, pick it up just like that, and flip it over. But what I find to be the easiest way, especially when you have a lot of weight on that one side, just go ahead and grab the handlebars. Keep the nose of the pack wheel down, so you're just picking up the handlebars. You're just gonna flip it over just like that. So there's really no picking up the pack wheel, you're just kind of flipping it over. And I find that to be a whole lot easier of a way versus trying to pick it up. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take my other bag and just repeat that process. All right, now I've got the other side done. All right, so now that we've got both bags on here, if you've got like a big pack frame or something that you want to throw on here, you can throw that on here with the pack wheel on its side. Easiest way though, and what I recommend, is just grabbing that handle in the front of the pack wheel, rolling it up onto the handlebars. So now it's nice and easy to take my pack frame or my pack, whatever else I've got, set it on here, strap it however I want, and now I'm good to go. So the last thing I want to show you guys is just a couple ways of picking this pack wheel up. So obviously, first way, if you have it on the handlebars, pretty self-explanatory. You're just going to pick it straight up, just like that. But the one way I found is the easiest way of picking this thing up without using any muscle really. I'm just going to lay this pack wheel down on its side. And we're going to do kind of that same thing as we did flipping it over. We're going to roll it onto its nose. And now when I get behind it, I'm just going to ease into that throttle, and I'm going to let the pack wheel pick itself up. And this requires pretty much no muscle at all. I'm just kind of leaning back, throttling into it. So that is by far the easiest way I have found of picking this pack wheel up once you get it all loaded. So that's it for this video, guys. Again, we just went over a couple little tips and tricks about loading the bags, attaching them to the frame, and just a few techniques of picking the pack wheel up. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. And as always, good luck on all your hunts.